Identifying the True Biblical Israelites. A synthesis of slavery history, DNA, and biblical prophecy. This study explores the question: who are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites? By comparing historical slavery patterns, modern genetic data, especially paternal Y DNA haplogroups, and biblical prophecy, we aim to construct a comprehensive and evidence-based fact. 1. Biblical prophecies of the Israelites. Key verses from the Torah and the New Testament describe the Israelites' future if they disobey God. Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. You will be taken in ships, sold to your enemies as slaves. Deuteronomy 28 verse 64. The Lord will scatter you among all peoples, from one end of the earth to the other. Luke 21 verse 24. They shall fall by the edge of the sword and be led away captive into all nations. Zephaniah 3 verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my worshippers, the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring my offering. These verses depict a people scattered worldwide, enslaved by ship, and living beyond Cush, Africa, in severe social and economic distress. 2. Historical slavery and dispersions. Transatlantic slave trade. 1500s to 1800s. Affected 12 to 15 million Africans. Most slaves came from West and Central Africa. Kingdoms like Judah, Widda, and Benin were major slave ports. Victims were shipped across the Atlantic to the Americas and Caribbean. Resulted in descendants in the USA, Brazil, Haiti, Jamaica, UK, and more. Arab slave trade. 7th century onward. Targeted East Africans. Millions were enslaved and brought to the Middle East and Asia. No other enslaved population was. Taken by ship across oceans. Sold in global slave markets. Scattered across all continents. 3. DNA and paternal haplogroups. Haplogroup E1b1a EM2. Dominant in West Central Africa. Found in Bantu-speaking populations. Associated with African American and Afro-Caribbean males. Most likely linked to ancient Israelites, based on cultural practices and oral traditions. Haplogroup J, J1, J2 common in Middle Eastern Jews and Arabs. Some scholars associate J1 with Aaronic, priestly, lineages, but its presence is debated in terms of ancient Israel. Haplogroup R1b. Dominant in Europe. Found in many Ashkenazi Jews but is more recent, about 3,000 years. Linked to Indo-European migrations. Genetic implication. The Afro-Asiatic Semitic people from Northeast Africa and Southwest Asia, DNA haplogroups E1b1a and E1b1b are stronger candidates than R1b or J for being the original Israelites. 4. Cultural and oral traditions. Igbo, Nigeria. Observe circumcision on the 8th day, kept clean, unclean food laws, and honor the Sabbath. Yoruba, Nigeria. Have priestly classes and trace migration from the east. Limba, Zimbabwe, South Africa. Maintain kosher laws and oral claims of Israelite descent. Ethiopian Jews, Beta Israel. Practice Torah-based Judaism before contact with Rabbinic Jews. Dahomey, Widda, Benin. Marked as Kingdom of Judah on 18th century maps. These practices suggest continuity with Torah-based laws independent of European Jewish influence. 5. Geographic markers and prophecy. References to rivers of Cush imply regions beyond Ethiopia and Sudan. Scattering to the four corners of the earth fits with the African diaspora via the slave trade. 6. Conclusion. Synthesizing the evidence. Based on specific biblical prophecies, Deuteronomy, Isaiah, Luke. The transatlantic slave trade being the only slavery event matching those prophecies exactly. Y-DNA evidence, pointing to E1b1a as the most ancient Semitic African lineage. Cultural retention of Israelite practices among African ethnic groups. The descendants of the transatlantic African diaspora, especially those with E1b1a and preserved Israelite customs, are the strongest candidates for the original house of Israel, particularly the tribes of Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. If not African Semitic, then who? If we reject African Semitic E1b1a Israelites, no other group on earth fits the biblical, genetic, and historical evidence without forcing contradictions. So the most probable answer remains. The ancient Israelites were a Semitic branch of African origin, specifically, Afro-Asiatic people carrying haplogroups E1b1a, later scattered and lost among African populations through war, exile, and the slave trade. Note: this fact is not to negate anyone's spiritual connection or faith identity, but to explore the ancestral bloodline of the ancient Israelites using historical, genetic, and prophetic alignment. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel for more thought-provoking content like this.